Okay, this is going to be a rather short video about religion and its usage as justification for social deviance. Lately, there's been a story in the news that a lot of people have been talking about where there was a satanic cult, a so-called satanic cult. I want to say so-called in there because they don't fit any kind of model of Satanism that I've seen. But anyway, there was a so-called satanic cult in Wales, I think it was, that got busted for hurting or molesting or raping children, something like that. And I'll post a link in the sidebar so you guys can see it for yourself. And this is one instance of many instances where the only press that occultism and paganism get is bad press. It doesn't matter what good we do, how many food drives we start, how many charity drives we start, how many people that we are counseling for free and things like that. None of that gets in the paper. What gets in the paper is some wacko chick that stabs some guy in the woods and calls it Wicca, or some so-called satanic cult that uses fucked up interpretations of Aleister Crowley to justify child rape. These are the only times that we see these things in the paper, and it's really unfortunate because when it's other religions that are favorable in the media, it gets downplayed when people justify their social deviance by religion. I'll give you an example. David Koresh, the whole Waco incident with his cult down there. He was a religious leader. You could, definitely say he was a cult leader. And he used the Bible to justify calling himself the second coming of Christ and also raping young women. He said that there's a part in the Bible where it talks about his head being anointed with oil. And he said that was basically, the way that was supposed to be interpreted was that the oil was the vaginal secretions of a woman and the head was his penis. And so he was supposed to have sex with lots of young women. And he fathered children by these women. And a lot of those children burned up in a fire because he wouldn't let them leave. So, we're talking about a really evil guy that justified his actions from a religious context. And I'm not picking on Christianity because you could basically pick any religion, Hinduism, Buddhism, so forth and so on, and you will find horrible acts justified by that religion. All the honor killings that you find in Muslim countries and stuff like that people justify by their religion, that's another example. Of course it's evil, and it's something that they would do whether, they believed in this specific religion or not. But they just use the religion that they're used to, the religion of their upbringing or the religion that they're part of, to justify what they're doing so that they don't have to feel bad about it. And it happens all the time. But you only hear about it happening with pagan religion. I'm going to give you another couple of examples. In the United States, slavery was justified by Christianity, because in the Old Testament it talks at length about how to care for your slaves, what you can and cannot do with your slaves, and so forth and so on. And then, of course, slave rape was also justified because it says in the Bible that you can basically take a slave woman and make her your wife if you want, and, have sex with her like your wife and everything like that. And then when you get bored with her, you can just put her out. This type of stuff is justified by Christianity. Manifest Destiny was justified by Christianity. The treatment of Native Americans was justified by Christianity. In fact, we tried very much so as a culture, all the way up through FDR. Who I respect FDR as a president, but he didn't stop this very much either. And Teddy Roosevelt, his relative, hated Native Americans, and there was a lot of Native American hate that went on in this country, and there was different laws that were enacted to try to assimilate Native Americans into Christian culture, and of course this was justified by the Bible. So there's several different examples of how this happens, but you don't hear about those. You only hear about the ones that happen within paganism. And the sad thing is that a lot of times this justification is completely inappropriate misinterpretations of writings. And I'll give you an example. This latest one that I was talking about, the one that happened in Wales, where this so-called satanic cult was harming children, they used interpretations of Aleister Crowley who talked in Magic and Theory and Practice about killing a male child to justify some of the things that they'd done. However, if they would have understood that phrase, they would know that it was the Victorian era. You could not talk about sex in a book without being censored. And so, instead of talking about masturbation, which he was really talking about, he used metaphor about killing a male child, which, basically breaks down into this. It's a sacrifice, meaning that you're masturbating, you're spilling your seed on the ground, and of course, a child being like a spiritual child, not a physical child, would be sperm. So basically, he was saying that he was sacrificing sperm, meaning he was masturbating. That's the way that I understand it, and if you're a Thelmite and you know a better translation of that, please correct me, but that's what I understand. Anyway, they of course took this literally and started harming kids. And the thing is that, you could have found several other justifications for this in different religious movements. The point is that they were going to do this, no matter what religion they were part of. They were going to do this. It just so happens that they took Aleister Crowley. Not to mention that Aleister Crowley has never been a Satanist. And not only that, but that Anton LaVey's Church of Satan does not condone harming children. In fact, it's one of the rules of the earth. So, either way, this group is wrong. They're just a bunch of loons who wanted to hurt kids and found some sort of religious justification to do it. Just like it happens in every other religion. I hope that helps clarify the fact that occultism is not evil, nor do most occultists condone this type of thing. There is no such thing as a religion that's main goal is to harm people. There's no such thing. People will try to justify their actions that way, but if you look at all the religions in the world, there's no such thing as a religion that's main goal is to harm people. Some people, their main goal is to attain salvation, whether it's in this life or the next life. Other people, their main goal is to make this the best life that they possibly can, to indulge. Indulgence is their goal. For other people, they might want to explore the human potential and try to be the best human that they can be. And other people, they might try to separate themselves from this world and try to be the most self-sustained that they can be. Either way, there's a lot of different goals for religion, but as much as I've studied religion, I've never found a religion who their main goal was harming people. And so if that's your idea, if you want to say that paganism or occultism, their main goal is harming people, you're fucking wrong. And sorry for getting a little upset, but I've seen a lot of people try to justify that, and of course they will, but really when it comes down to it, if you're going to justify that, then you also have to say that Christianity and Islam are just as wrong in that, because people have used those to justify evil acts as well. Alright, blessed be.